Morning, guys. All right, just want to talk about a couple things here first. First about myself, a little background. I started flying about 1980. Went down to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University down in Daytona. After that, came up to Worcester and started flying out of Worcester Flight School and did some training out of there. Started a couple charter companies, flew for corporate aviation, chief pilot for national worldwide companies, and then just recently came back up here to flight instruction. It's something I enjoy. I also coach high school varsity lacrosse, so kind of coaching in the cockpit is the way I look at it. So it's something I enjoy, and I'm constantly learning. We all are. You hear that from every instructor, every examiner, and if you're not learning, then you're going to be behind the plane. So that's a little bit about me. How about everyone here now? Just want to make sure that you all here understand that we're all in the same boat. For whatever reason, we've been away from flying, work, family. We all have situations, but it's great to see you guys back here. Just a show of hands, maybe pilots here are longer than 5 years away from flying, maybe 10, 15, good, 20, excellent, 30, 40.
Never
okay,
flown.
All right, you know what? Hopefully this is going to help with a transition back into flying. Hopefully for the guys that have been recently flying, this is going to help with the ground portion of your flight review. One of the slides is going to say it helps with your flight review, and that's all it does. You do get an endorsement saying that you were with an instructor, and it fills the requirement for the flight review, but quite honestly, you need a lot more than just sitting down and going through a couple slides. You need to get with the instructor, obviously, and fly, but you need a lot more. We're not going to talk about weight and balance. We're not going to talk about when an alternator fails, things like that. So there's a lot more to do on the ground, but this will start us out. As Charlie said, we do have Mr. Adams here with the FAA, and he's going to help us work through some new changes. We have Dr. Skripczak with us, medical examiner, as Charlie said. He's also a pilot. I believe he's also a rusty pilot as well. Was your hand up?
3 years.
3 years, there you go. So hopefully this helps you. I keep trying to make a deal with him that if I can pronounce his name, I get a free medical, so I might want to work that out. And then I'll come back on and I'll talk about the airspace and the traffic patterns, VFR, just the ground portion of the flight review. So at this time, what we want to do is bring up Mr. Adams and let him talk about FAA and the changes. Let's give him a warm welcome, please.
Wow, what a turnout. This is great. Okay, so I got a question here. How many people here are members of Fitchburg Pilot Association? Excellent. And those of you that didn't put your hand up, you probably ought to consider coming to a couple meetings and maybe joining. It's a great organization. And that's Jim talking, it's not the FAA talking. So I'm Jim Adams. Some of you see me around different places. I've been doing the safety program job, fast team program manager job for about 9 years, 10 years now. And it's a good fit for me. I started off, like all the other inspectors, they think it was the black hat people, They're out there trying to ground pilots and do all that sort of nasty stuff. We actually don't do that too much anymore.
Excellent.
Couple things on the table over there. There's the January-February issue of FAA Safety Briefing magazine, and the big title here, it says Compliance Philosophy. So the agency has changed the way they're looking at accidents, incidents, and violations by individual airmen. And that applies to maintenance personnel as well. So now, the inspectors are being told, ordered basically, to see if we can retrain this airman as opposed to necessarily violating him. Doesn't mean we still don't do violations, because we do. But the concept is, if the person's got a cooperative attitude and they're willing to consider some training, whether it's ground school or flight training or a combination or whatever, and if it's a FAR violation, if it's not some really big one, like, flying under the influence of drugs or smuggling drugs across the border or whatever the case is, we'll consider putting them into a remedial training program. And basically that's a contract with the government, and you have a reasonable period of time to get the appropriate training. The agency assigns you, or I guess the best way to describe it is we approve the instructor who does the training. So basically not every instructor can is on that list. We have a select few. This is going on all over the country. So it's a nice change in the way we think about things now. So you might want to pick up that article, take a look at it. Everybody hear about the NASA get out of jail free card with the FAA? Yeah. No, it's been around for 40 years. It's basically called the Aviation Safety Reporting System. That's the modern name. It's a form, if you go out and you do something, you say, boy, I know the controller said they'll, maintain 4,000, and I descended to 3,500, I just forgot about it, or forgot to check in on the next frequency, or entered the traffic pattern going the wrong way. And you decide that you want to fess up to somebody before we catch up with you. You can fill out this form on the NASA's website, the ASRS website, and you tell them your story, and they have the right to republish your story so that other people can learn from your mistake. They remove your name, they change the N number, they take the N number out of the aircraft registration or whatever. You get a little receipt back. You can do it on a computer, you can do it by mail, and then when the big bad FAA people come to talk to you about this, we usually will, you can say, well, at least I fessed up on the NASA form. And what that tells us is, at least you're willing to say, hey, I made a mistake. And, listen to say the first thing in correcting something is admitting your errors. So even if we go down the road of a 30-day suspension or something like that, as an example, now, even if that held up, we say, you're gonna get this 30-day suspension, well, essentially we suspend the sentence. It's on your record, but you don't have to surrender your certificate. So that's kind of a cool thing. We've been doing that in cooperation with NASA for 40 years now. There's a great little article on the table over there about that. Just kind of neat stuff. Just a couple more things here. Got the list of the 2015 NTSB most wanted. They have the top 10 most wanted things they want to fix to make the world a safer place. And one of them is preventing loss of control in general aviation. There's an excellent article on the table over there about that. And to go along with that, there's the March-April issue of the Safety Briefing magazine. And it says your guide to preventing loss of control. So some interesting stuff. Free for the taking. I used to be able to come out with cases and cases of all this stuff. But now that we've gotten to be more of a digital society, the government's saying, why are we printing all this stuff? So I'm waiting for them to say, we're no longer going to print these magazines. But it's still available, amazingly enough. It's also available on FAAsafety.gov. Right on the home page, you'll see a little scrolling window there. Even if you're not logged in with your account, just go to FAAsafety.gov, you'll see it. You can click through all the forward, back issues. You can download it to your computer. You can send it to your printer, and spend a fortune on color ink if you want. So that's kind of what I want to just talk about briefly. The other thing I was going to mention, although with our AME here, I'm not sure I certainly want to take away any of his thunder.
Right.
But, you know, I'm getting older, I'm getting up there a bit, and thinking about retiring here before long. And, you know, I keep thinking, well, how many more years are you going to be able to keep flying, Jim? How many more years can you keep your medical? You know? But I'm here to tell you that the agency is very, very liberal with working with airmen. If the airman's willing to work with the agency is very willing to work with them. I think Dr. Clark told me one time that if you go to your AME for a medical, you know, the AME's got three options. They give you a certificate, they defer the certificate, or they deny. Denying means, nah, you're not getting it. But I don't know if any AMEs have probably ever denied anybody. Very few. A lot of people get deferred because the agency simply needs more information. But it's well over 99% of the people that get deferred. If you follow through with what the agency wants you to do, you know, get a letter from your treating physician, maybe follow up with some tests, more than likely you're going to get a certificate. And I don't get any special get out of jail free things on my medical. But, you know, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. I've got some blood pressure issues. I've had those for a long, long time. You know, I had a sudden incapacitation, which is never a good thing, followed by a subdural hematoma, brain bleed. But I have a class 1 medical in my pocket with no restrictions on it. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the eyeglass limitation. Now, you know, it didn't all come back right at once, and I had to jump through the hoops. But, you know, I'm here to tell you that the agency is really very willing to work with you on the medical front. One more thing, I've got the WINGS sign-in form for those of you that signed up online. I really appreciate it. Just initial next to your name. For those that brought a guest, please supply email address for FAAsafety.gov and an initial in the corner if you want an account open for you. If you didn't sign up online, just go to the second, third page. Please print as clearly as possible, because I'm the guy that's going to sit there Monday morning and try to read what you've written, okay? If you want to use 2 spaces, it's fine with me. If you write it out, it's looking for your name, your email address, your zip code, and the last column is if you don't have an account on FAAsafety.gov and you want us to start one, you know, make that note and I'll start one for you. It's very easy. How many people here used to get the email announcements and now they don't get them? Anybody like that? A couple people, okay. The most common reason for that, okay, is that over the years, you've probably changed your internet service provider. You went from AOL to Comcast or to Yahoo or whatever. So if you change your internet service provider, you have a new email address, you have to go into FAAsafety.gov and log in using your old email address and click on the box that says change email address and you can get transferred over. If you're not sure, you can certainly call me and I can get in and get a look at everyone's account. And if you need some help getting through that, you know, please feel free to give me a call. I'll be glad to try to help you out any way I can. So I'll send this around. I'll start it over here. That rug? Yeah, I know it. I see that. Yeah, that's okay. I got a bunch of witnesses and I'm on the clock, isn't it? It's a pretty good retirement plan, right? Perfect. So any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to turn the program right back to Joe, I guess. Well, thank you all very much for coming out, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of the program.
Thanks.